Hi, thanks for reaching out. This is indeed a complicated issue, and if you're looking for scholarly articles in particular about the gondola and Little Cottonwood, they wouldn't exist because it's been too short of amount of time where all of this flurry of political action has happened. So we have to look for precedents, like when has this occurred in the past, like too much traffic, and then what were proposed solutions. In the past, in Little and Big Cottonwood Canyons, the ski bus has been one of them. But then UTA has been wrangling, and that goes back and forth. I always thought it would be cool to have a train up there, which is completely civil engineering disaster. They've also, in the distant past, this is really cool, they had a ski resort top, and then like here's the mountain. They had a tunnel, and then you'd take an elevator up. That was a resort in Park City in like the 1950s. Totally cool. And again, unsustainable. You have to have a mind to start out with. So we start out with, before we look for precedent, we look for like what's going on right now. And I went to Gemini. It's Bard, Gemini, same thing. I think we did this in class, where I said, well, why is the gondola being proposed for Little Cottonwood Canyon? And you can see there's things like traffic congestion is a big one, heavy traffic. You can see that it's during a particular time of year, although I would say it's turning into a year-round thing. And then proponents of the gondola including a gondola manufacturer. Yeah, so sometimes the problem is nuanced, sometimes it's overt. So the main thing is reducing traffic. All weather reliability is weak and lame. Cars don't get stuck in the snow often enough where that could be where we'd spend $1 billion on something. Safety is avalanche prone. No, we've been shooting down avalanches for a long time. People don't get hurt or stuck as often as they used to, back in the good old days. Against it is environmental impact, cost obviously that I've talked about, and limited benefit to just skiers. Although the novelty would be overwhelming. I loved riding on the tram. So when we have ideas like this, we can go back and forth between the library catalog and some of the other databases, which I have done. Since you've taken the trouble to ask me, I've done a little bit of research, and I'm looking at notes on this other screen. So I did some searching, looking for precedents. And I remember like in National Park, like Zion, they introduced a shuttle and things like that. But you could search for like traffic congestion and related terms, and then look for like solutions. So not the word solution, but maybe like shuttle, busing, mass transit, something like that. But it got really messy. So let me show you what I found. And your results may vary. So I was just like, okay, so we said heavy traffic. Ooh, that'd actually be a good one. Heavy traffic. Or, do you remember how we did this? We added an or when we wanted to search for one thing, but maybe it's called the other thing. Here's all the other things. I did road congestion, traffic control, traffic regulation, traffic congestion, heavy traffic. I gotta remember heavy traffic. I don't know if heavy traffic is gonna be a big one. That one's really subjective. What is heavy traffic? Traffic congestion's ambiguous. Okay. When we do a search, I found that if you have these mixed in, you get articles that are kind of higgledy-piggledy. So I want it to be in the title only, so it's like the main point of the article. And there's 39,000 results. That's not too bad, is it? A lot of them are air traffic control. We can get around that. So I would narrow it down. Oh, here we go. So from 1800, let's narrow it down to our current century. So let's do last 10 years. 2024, I'm gonna move my head. We're fine. That narrows it down to 27,000. And then let's narrow it down to peer-reviewed journals, because I think that's what your class has to look for, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have some other issues with it. So dirty air, pollution, that's a thing in Salt Lake City. intelligent road traffic control system, all of a sudden we see solutions. And whether or not it is inside the context of skiing in Little Cottonwood Canyon in Utah is beside the point. We're looking for an article that talks about the problem. We're looking for an article that talks about a potential solution. So intelligent road traffic control, that's what they do at Arches National Park. You get a ticket and you get a time frame. It's like going to a museum. You can go from 9 to 10 for the beginning of a museum thing. That wouldn't cost anywhere near as much as a gondola. And you could have, I actually kind of like that solution in this particular time. What you would do though is you could go through and figure out what resonates with you just by going through and like, oh, does this look good? Does this look good? And you start to get an idea of like what people are talking about. The impact of public transit or carpooling. Ooh, that was a big deal before. Et cetera, et cetera. So there's a bunch of ways to go about it before you go into the solutions, but we can also look for context. And I've looked up keywords too. So don't be too hard on yourself. If you find one that talks to what you want to say, that's the good article to use. But let's go in and put a context. So I'm going to do tourism or skiing or recreation or resort or national park or park. I'm going to get rid of park because that could be like cars that are parking. $153. All of a sudden we're getting more to a more precedent context. So, tolls. Oh, that's been proposed before too. Make Big Cottonwood, Little Cottonwood Canyon a toll road, which just, that's a mess unto itself. There's case study, analytics. Oh, here we go. Traffic congestion estimates and tourism spots. There's one. Traffic congestion and air pollution. There's another one that would be related to Salt Lake City. Does polycentric and compact development? I don't know if that's relevant to what we're looking for. Land use, so that might be parking. There's all these different things you could look at. If that gets annoying, you can make the field be either in the title or the subject. So title is like the most important thing. Subject is a list of things. I feel like we're going to get too few. Oh, 68. Toll. Looks like we're just getting the same things. Okay, I'm going to be bold and put it in the title. I bet we're going to get like very few. Might be actually the perfect things we were looking for. Oh, there's a national park. Proposed traffic regulation for national park. Okay, how do we get around the idea of like, well, is there a precedence for a gondola? That seems rather wacky. I've never heard of a gondola. So let's look it up. Anywhere in the article, it can say gondola, any field whatsoever. So the title has to have heavy traffic congestion, and somewhere we have gondola. Survey says, look at that. There's a precedence for commuting gondolas that travel between buildings downtown. This has nothing to do with the ski industry, does it? I'll be darned. There's precedence for it. I didn't see that coming at all. So as you go, some other ones that I propose that you look at and try different keywords, but there's another one called PAIS. Let's just look at, oh, you can see I've done everything in here. Let's do gondola, just all by itself, because this has been talking about, this is public policy. Congolese women, favela chic, believe it or not, resettlement. Oh, it's the name of a town in Mozambique. Hey, there's another one. So you might find somebody who talks about gondolas in a different context altogether. You can also look at, let's see if we have, I know we have an urban planning. Maybe it's just called planning. Maybe it's architecture and planning. There we go. So this is another place where you could look and you can see if people talked about it. Let's go for gondola. Oh, it's inspired by an undulating roofline. Missed the gondola queues, the gondola and the speedboat. So do you see how we pick it apart? So there's something about traffic and maybe tourism and congestion in national parks. And then there's solutions. And then there's maybe like articles about the gondola. And the whole time we haven't said anything that's in the specific context of Little Cottonwood Canyon. So as you go, take little pieces like that and you can support your main topic with the observations that you've already made from newspaper articles. This is enough to get you going, probably too much. Let me know how it goes and I'll keep an eye on my email.